So the first thing today, we're going to go to lab exercise using Google Web Fonts, okay? We're going to use fonts.google.com and choose two fonts that we like. We're going to follow the process to include the use of both of your chosen fonts in a page. I do not mind with your content, I do not mind what content your page contains as long as you show me that you use both with chosen web fonts. You can upload a screenshot or the code. Both methods of proof are acceptable. Okay, so when you submit, you'll have an option to submit a file and the code. Okay, so I sent you some starter code inside of the Zoom chat. That's what we're going to get started with. So the first thing I should do is create a CSS file. We're not going to be writing any inline CSS. So I'm going to create an external CSS file. I'm going to call it style.css. Okay. Right. Now inside of my head, I want to actually link that CSS because that's how we're going to change our fonts. Okay, inside of our CSS file. So to link my CSS file, I'm going to use the link element, and I'm going to set an rel attribute, meaning relationship. So what relationship does this link have to my fonts.html document? It's going to have a relationship of style sheet. Okay, and as you already know, the href attribute is the location of our file. Okay, so I'm going to use relative path. I'm going to hit // and the name of my CSS file. Okay, great. And so let me change the title of my document. I'm going to call it fonts. Now let's open this with Live Server so we can see the changes reflected in real time. Great. And so we want to create some text elements on our web page. So inside of our body, we're going to create, let's go with an H1. Let's go with an H2. I'm going to create an H2 and we're going to say this is JavaScript. And we're going to create a p tag underneath that H2 and we're going to say React. Okay, so those are my first two elements. At the bottom of those two elements, I'm going to create two more elements, an H2. I'm going to call this Python. Underneath this H2, I'm going to create a p tag. I'm going to call this Django. Okay, great. So next, what we want to do is we want to go to fonts.google.com. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it inside of the Zoom chat. So we're going to go to this website, fonts.google.com, and we're going to select two fonts of our choice. Okay, any fonts that you like. Now that we're at fonts.google.com, we want to select two fonts. So we're going to select our first font. You can scroll. Literally, there's hundreds of fonts. I'm going to go with the classic Roboto font. So I'm going to select this, and it's going to take me over to a page like this. Okay, and so there are something called font weights inside of typography and fonts. Okay, so it starts at 100 and it ends at 900. So as you can see, the 100 is the most thinned and 900 is the most bolded font. For Roboto, I am going to go with black 900. So once you've decided which font that you want and which font weight that you like, you're gonna hit the select the style button. Okay, and it should open up a pop-up menu. If a pop-up menu doesn't open up when you clicked select the style, you can go right up here to this button where it says hide your selected font list, and that's going to show what you have selected so far. Okay, so now I have Roboto selected. I'm going to go back. By hitting the Google Fonts logo. It's going to take me back to the home page, and I want to select a second font. So I want something a bit more crazy. As a result, I'm going to go for style script. So I'm going to select this. so you could see that this font only comes with one font weight. And so font weight of 400 is the regular font weight. Okay, so some fonts come with more than one font weight, some come with all 9. Okay, so I'm gonna hit select the style. And now you see, according to my selected families menu, I have both Roboto and style script selected. Now, last time I showed you one way of importing your styles by copying all 3 of these links. Okay, we're going to copy all 3 of these links and then we're going to paste them inside of our head tag. Okay, so right above my style sheet, my CSS import, I'm going to paste all 3 of these links. Okay, now this is why I continually repeat the importance of comments, because I actually want to make a bit more clearer what these links are. So for my fonts, I'm going to insert a comment of font imports. Great. And for my style sheet, I'm going to create a comment that says CSS imports. Comment that out. Okay. Now I have a clear indication of what these links are for and what this link is for. Okay. Nice. So we can go back to our CSS file and we could actually target our HTML elements and change the font. And so I'm going to split this. Okay, just so you can see. Great. So I want to target both of my H2s or all of my H2s on my web page. So I'm just going to target the element name, H2. And we're going to use a CSS property called font family. Okay, font family. Sorry, not font weight, font family. Great. Now, the name of our font is going to go in between quotations. And in between those quotations, like I said, you're going to include the name of your font. Now that you could go back to Google Fonts to see which fonts that you selected, the name of the fonts, okay, Roboto Style Script. Or you could just look inside of your fonts import, that would be the last link, and the name of your fonts is inside of that URL. So I can say I have a family of Roboto, and I have a family of Style Script. Okay, so I want to change my H2s to Style Script. Great, those changed. Next, I want to target my P tag, and I'm going to set a font family. I'm going to set those to be Roboto. Okay, great. And so that is the first way that we could import fonts inside of our CSS or inside of our web page. Now, the second way that we can do it, a much shorter way, is we could get rid of these HTML links for our CSS import, sorry, for our font imports. And we could go back to Google Fonts and we see that there's an add import button, radio button, right? And so for the link is for importing inside of the head tags in HTML, whereas the add import is for you to include it inside of your CSS file. And so remember, inside of our raw CSS file, we don't need the style tags. And so we could just copy whichever in between these style tags. Okay, so from add import all the way until the semicolon. So I'm going to copy this. And this add import statement is going to go at the very top of my CSS document. Okay, so now when I hit paste, I paste that link, you could see that this is a much simpler and shorter way, much more efficient way of importing fonts inside of your web page. Okay, and that is lab exercise using Google Web Fonts.